Hey guys, Matthew here from Red Flyer Coding, and today I'm bringing you guys a different kind of video. Instead of just pre-writing a tutorial and then reading it off my top monitor like I have for some previous videos and for my last series, I'm actually going to be live coding today. And we're going to be making a snake game because that's what a lot of other people on YouTube do. It seems pretty simple and definitely a good challenge to start with. You guys have probably seen the snake game before, but if not, I'll put the end result on screen right now. But yeah, we're going to make it all live from my head. I'm going to try not to Google anything. I'm going to do it as fast as I can. And before we get into the code, here we are in MS Paint. We're going to come up with some parameters for our game. So 1, it's going to start on load. 2, it's going to move player with WASD or arrows. 3, if we eat food, the snake gets bigger. 4, if we cross the snake, the game ends. 5, loop stops on game end, so no start buttons, no replay buttons. We're not going to worry about any of that. We're just going to have the actual core of the game for this video. You could always add those things on your own if you'd like. 6, we're going to wrap screen, so if you're on this side of the screen and you go off, you're going to spawn over here and keep going, just like that. And then I did put some thought into just the sizing and kind of the logic of this, but I haven't actually coded anything yet. We're going to say game canvas 500 by 500 pixels, and then the actual board of a 20. The board will be a 20 by 20 grid, because then that'll, if we make the player 25 pixels wide, that'll fit perfectly. So player and fruit is 25 by 25. 25 by 25 pixels. Okay, I think those are all our parameters. There's 9. We'll come back to this later. I just want to kind of have parameters before we get into the code. As you guys can see, I have no reference code up here. I probably will look up here quite often just because that's where my recording is, to make sure that that's good. And we are recording, that's good. But I have no reference code. You can see I just have, this is my recording, MS Paint, VS Code, and Chrome over here. Okay, so I'm in my snake game directory right here. We're going to create a new file. We're going to call it index.html, exclamation mark, enter, just like that. And it's going to get kind of tight here, but once we get rid of this, it should fit better. I'm trying to make the text as big as I can so you guys can see. Really quick, we're going to call this snake game in the title, and then we're going to link styles.css, and we're going to give a script source is equal to index.js, like that. Then we're going to create a canvas. Width is equal to 500, height is equal to 500, and let's give it an ID, game canvas, like that. Okay, that should be it for our HTML. Now for our styles.css file that we just linked, pretty simple. We're just going to say canvas, let's add a border. Border 1 pixel solid black. I don't think we need to add anything else to that. And then we're going to center everything to body. And we'll say, is it font align? I always mix that one up. Text align. Center like that. And I guess we should add some text here. Let's just add a heading. We'll call it a snake game. Text align center. Do we need a background color? I don't think we do. Okay, let's open a default browser right here. Snake game, it's centered, it looks good. Now let's create that index.js file that I believe we already linked. Yep, looks good. We're gonna add a window.onload function, just like that. Oops. Console.log load. This will run as soon as our page loads. Let's reload that, check the console, looks good. There it is. We want to make sure we don't try to access any elements before they're loaded, which is why we have that. Let's create some variables. We can close out of this first of all, so we have a little more space. There we are. Canvas, var context, we can just say that. Var player, or let's say var head. Let's be the head of the player, and then body will be an array. var food. It's going to be an object. We don't need to declare that yet though. And what else? I think that's, oh, game loop. Let's do game loop. Okay, so the first thing we'll say is canvas is equal to document.getElementById game canvas, which we just set up the ID in our HTML file. Context is equal to canvas.getContext, 2D like that, I think. And then game loop at the bottom here, we're going to set the game loop is equal to set interval step 1000. I think we want this game to run at about, let's say, 8 frames per second. It definitely doesn't hit a high frame rate, and if it's too high, it'll make it impossible if the player is moving too fast, because we'll move it one movement on our grid, our 20 by 20 grid. We'll move it 1 per step. So I think 8 per second will be pretty good. That might even be a bit fast. Set interval 1008. Function step. Now let's make sure that this actually runs. I don't remember if I need brackets here, so let's see that. I'm also going to get my water. Okay. Let's reload this, and step is being printed. Looks good. Within here, we're also going to call a draw function at the end. Once everything is positioned well, here we're going to say ctx.fillStyle is equal to white, or let's make the background gray, white, light gray. ctx.fillRect. I like grays. Grays are good colors. There we are. Looks like our context is working fine and our canvas is set up properly. Now we're going to, we filled that in gray. That'll be the first thing we'll do. Then we'll draw the head, draw body, and draw fruit. So now let's say head is actually going to be an object, I think. So we'll create that here. Head is equal to x and y, and we're actually going to set these to a random position between 0 and 19, because this is a 20 by 20 grid. We want it to start at 0 because that makes it easier for the positioning, because this is 0 right here. So we're going to say math.random. I don't exactly remember how these work. I think we want to say that returns a decimal between 0 and 1 times 20. And then we want to put a math.floor around that. I think that'll be good. And giving us a random position on here. Of course, nothing's actually going to happen yet because we haven't drawn it yet. So in our draw thing, we're going to draw the head by saying ctx.fillStyle is equal to green. The head will be green. And then ctx.fillRect head.x head.y 25 25 draw draw fill style is equal to green, head is equal to here. Oh, you know what? I'm not sure this will fix the error, but we need to multiply these by 25 because remember we're storing this in a 0 to 19 grid, our head position, because this is going to give us roughly between, I think it might be between 1 and 20. It's odd. Oh, you know what? Is our interval set up here? Yeah. Step is running, which means draw is running. ctx.fillRect. So let's console.log head. I guess we can just replace this one. Head is 8 and 14. Head.x, head.y. Fill rect. Fill style is green, not a, oh, we forgot the S, of course. I don't know why that doesn't come up as an error. Guess it doesn't. Okay, that looks good, and if we refresh it, this should be at random positions across our board. Looks good. Okay. I'm not sure it can be 0. It can be 19 apparently. Oh, I guess it can be 0. Okay, perfect. So I guess that random function is good then, or this here. Okay, so that's all set up. Now we want the player to move. So the first thing we need to add is key inputs. So let's say setup inputs like that, and then we'll create a function down here. Setup inputs like that, and we actually need some variables. Well, I guess only one variable to store those. So we're gonna say var direction. Let's set it equal to 0, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a cardinal system, cardinal directions. So 0 is up. To the right is 1, down is 2, and to the left is 3. We'll do it like that. So we're going to say document.add event listener key down. So anytime a key on the keyboard is pressed down, it'll run unlimited times, not just once. But I don't think that'll affect the way that we're doing this. But if you wanted like a something that only happened once, it's like a key press. I think it's called key press. I'm not sure if JavaScript has that. But we're actually, this is not set up correctly. Nope, that needs a semicolon, and we're actually going to make a function in here. Function event like that. There we are. And we'll say if event dot key code. I think it's key. I think key code is the ASCII code or ASCII code or whatever that's called. I think we want key. If key is equal to W, or event.key is equal to, and I believe these are caps, arrow up, then we'll say direction is equal to 0. Let's set it to 1 to start off really quick. I guess that's fine. Moving to the right is pretty standard. And we'll say console.log direction. Let's see if this is working. It's 1. Now it's 0. Perfect. Okay. Let's try it one more time with the arrow key. It's 1. Now it's 0. Good. They both work. We can get rid of that console log. Now we need a bunch of else's. Else, I guess we can copy paste this. Else if it's equal to A. Arrow. I guess I should do D next. So we're following our cardinal system here. Or arrow right, then it's equal to 1. And let's copy paste this. If it's equal to S or down, then it's going to be 2. If it's equal to A or left, it'll be equal to 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. Looks good. Okay, cool. So now we want to make the head actually move. So that'll be in our step event. Now we're just drawing. We're going to say if direction is equal to 0, head dot x. No, head dot y minus minus, because as we go down it increases, so minus y is actually going up. Else if direction is equal to 1, head dot x plus plus, that's moving to the right. Head dot y plus plus, and finally head dot x minus minus. Test that out. Nope. Looks like moving to the right and moving up is working. Oh, duh. There we go. seems to be working fine now. It's relatively responsive. It seems like the only thing... Oh, yeah. It works pretty well. I think it gets weird if you're holding down two of them at the same time. That's okay. I wonder if there is a key press. Let's see if there is a key press. This seems a little bit better. Sorry, I know my keyboard is just obnoxiously loud. Yeah, you know what? That seems a little bit better. I think I like that one better. Oh, that doesn't work for the arrow keys for some reason. Nope. Okay. Well, we'll stick with key down. That's so odd. I don't know why key press does not work with the arrow keys. And honestly, it doesn't seem super different. Okay. Good. We'll stick with that. But it seems our player can come off screen, so we want to make him wrap now. So this is move head. I'm trying to roughly comment this. Now we're going to wrap. So if head dot x is, it only moves one at a time, so we don't need a greater than. If it's equal to 20, head dot x is equal to 0. Else if head dot x is equal to -1, head dot x is equal to 19. Right? Yeah, 19. And then we should be able to just copy paste this again and paste a bunch of y's into everything. Save, reload. Looks good. Okay. Wrapping looks good. Cool. So now what we need to do is have fruit spawning in, and then have the player eat the fruit and grow bigger. So what we're going to say, I guess food is what we're calling it, not fruit. That's fine. We'll say food is equal to x, same thing as this. I guess, should we check and make sure the food isn't on the player? Yeah, we probably should do that. Val food.x is equal to head.x. And food.y is equal to head.y. We'll just redo that. That should fix it, where now the food does not spawn on the player. I guess we can't see the food yet, but that should make sure it doesn't spawn on it in the beginning, because that'd be kind of weird. Not exactly game breaking, but kind of weird. Now we need to draw the food. We called it fruit down here. Yeah, food. We're gonna make this red, just so it stands out. Fill style is equal to red. Fill rect food.x times 25, food.y times 25, 25, 25. And that's the x and y position and the width and the height. Oh my gosh, can't get it. There we are. Looks good. Spawning in random positions. Now we need to check and see if the player eats the food. We'll do this. Do we want it at the end of the step event or the beginning of the next one? If we want it at the end, I don't think it really matters, but okay. Check for food. So we're going to say if head.x is equal to food.x and head.y is equal to food.y, then let's move the food first of all. I guess we can just say this. We don't need to make a new object. I'm not sure that that matters, but just in case it does. It definitely will not matter, I don't think, but food.x is equal to food.y is equal to, so that should move the food There we are. Looks good. So the food is moving to random places. Nice. Now we need to make the player bigger. Okay. So let's add to the body. Move head. Drop. Check for food. Okay. So we're gonna put this down here. Add to body, and we're gonna say body.push. We're gonna make an object actually, so let's do it above here. We could make it within the push, but I don't like doing that. Let new body is equal to x, not get random. We actually want it to be behind the player, and y behind the player, not now Creative Cloud. So we need to store the previous position of the player. Let's say we'll store that at the top. So if the body is non-existent, if there's just a head, then we'll store the previous position of the head. Otherwise, it has to be the body. So let's say if body.length is equal to 0, then we need a variable. Let's call it var last x and var last y. If body.length is equal to 0, last x is equal to head.x, last y is equal to head.y, like that. And then we're moving the head after that, so it becomes the previous position. X, last x, y, last y, like that. Body.push, new body. Any errors? I guess we need to eat food to check. No errors. Okay. Would be a little red thing pop up if there was an error. Now we need to draw the bodies. So let's say for let I is equal to 0. I just don't like for each, so I'm not using that. I've mentioned that in previous videos. I should probably start using it, but I'm just not a fan of it, to be honest. CTX fill style is equal to white. I'm not sure white's going to show up well. Let's make this just gray. I'm tempted to do black, but that might be a little harsh. A little too dark. We'll do gray. Fill style is equal to white. We're making the body white just so the head has a distinction. Fill rect. Body I dot x. Body I dot y. 25, 25. And we need to translate this from a coordinate to a pixel thing on our grid here. There we go. That looks pretty good, although now it's not spawning behind us because the length of the body is greater than 0. So we said if it's equal to 0, and then we didn't add anything to that else. Okay, so now let's say else over here. Where was that? Here. Else prev. Wait, what do we call it? Prev x? Last x is equal to body, and then this one we want the last one in the body, so body dot length minus 1, yeah, dot x. Last y is equal to body dot length minus 1 dot y. Now let's see, it should spawn like right there. No, right there. Interesting. Getting any errors? No. Console.log. Body.length. So if body.length is 1, then this would be 0. If body.length is 2, this would be 1. That should be correct. I believe if we get rid of the minus minus. Well, hold on. This isn't even running, I don't think. this should run once we eat fruit when the player is greater than 1. Let's see. Yeah, okay. I can't see where the fruit is because our console is in the way here. Of course, it's in a spot where I can't see it in the exact corner. And it is again. Wow. Okay, well, body is running. Oh, of course, yeah, of course. Okay, everything's working fine. It's just that we're not moving the body to follow the player. So that's why it's still spawning there. So this is now body.x, but it's spawning on top of that one because we're not actually moving the body. Of course. Okay, I'm getting ahead of myself here. So the last thing I think we need to do is to move the body, and then we need to check for a collision. I feel like this should be done before we move the head, because then we can just say we want to move from the back to the front. So we're going to make a for loop that's going to step down bodies. So for let I is equal to body.length. I is greater than -1, right? I plus plus. No, I minus minus. Let's see how many this console logs. Oh, that's not gonna work. Because it's gonna keep looping. I think that's fine. I was gonna check and make sure that that steps through enough times, but that should be good. Because if the length is 1, I is equal to 1, as long as I is greater than -1, so it'll run it. No, I think this should be 0. Not -1. Yeah, I think that should be 0, then it'll run once. Okay. Although I guess we don't want this to run on the... Oh, geez. We actually want this to be 1, I think, because we don't want this to run on index 1. No, index 0. Oh my gosh. Okay, this is just playing off my head now. It's because the length thing is weird. That's like, I think that starts at 1. So if you have just one object in it, it returns length 1, but it's actually in the position 0, not position 1. So that's why it gets weird. That's why I'm getting hung up on this. Body I is equal to body I.x body I minus 1 dot x body I dot y is equal to body I minus 1 dot y. Okay, because the most recently pushed ones will be at the end. Yep, that's correct. And we don't want this to run it at 0. We do want it to run at 1, so we'll say it's greater than 0. I is equal to body.length while I is greater than 0. I think that's right. Jeez. I don't know. I guess we should test that really quick. Well, let's just see. We didn't save this. I guess we didn't move the closest one either. Okay, so there's an error there, but that's fine. We also need to move the closest one first, which I guess should happen after this, because this has to access 0. Okay, so now we need to move the first piece of the body. We're going to say body 0 if body.length, if the body exists, is greater than 0, is not equal to 0. Body 0.x is equal to head.x. Body 0.y is equal to head.y. That's good. Now we just have an error with this for loop. So So this is having a problem when the body length is 1. So the length is 1, well it's greater than 0, 1 minus minus. Yeah, this needs to be body length minus 1. So this won't run at all when there's only 1 in the body. And then once there's multiple, that should run, which is what I'm going for here. Sorry, I made this probably more complicated than it has to be. That looks good. That looks good. Okay. Yep. I'm just trying to see, make sure it's... I'm not missing it on purpose. I'm trying to, yep. It looks like it's adding in the right place. Cool. Okay, I definitely made that more complicated than it had to be. But it seems to be working well. Now the last thing that we need to check for is if we cross over ourselves like that, then we need to end the game. And that should be fairly simple. All we need to say is we'll check this at the end of the step event. The step function. I used to calling it events back when I used to use like Game Maker and stuff like that. It actually had events. Check for food. I think we want it after that. The only thing that's kind of a bummer then is if the player goes like, I guess they really couldn't. I'm trying to see if they could accidentally kill themselves. No, I don't think they could. It would be very challenging to do so. Yeah, we don't want them to go through like that, obviously, though. Okay, so what we'll say is after we check for food, after we add the body, before we draw, though, if player dot... No. It's like a for loop that's going to go through the body. For body dot... No, what am I saying? Let I is equal to 0. I is less than body dot length I plus plus. If body I dot x is equal to head dot x and body I dot y is equal to head dot y, clear timeout game loop. Did I actually set the game loop variable? Yeah. If body that looks good. I think that's good. This is just, yeah. Snake's too long. Okay. So let's add something there. I'm still not long enough. I can't actually go through myself. Not quick enough. I should be able to do it now. Yep. The game stops. Let's try that again, actually. What happens if we go down? I guess we shouldn't be able to go down. Right? Should we? I feel like the game should... Well, that wasn't in our parameters. It just stops the game if you go up while you're going down. How would we stop that, though? I guess we would have to say if the length is greater than... Yeah, this way it doesn't matter somehow. Not even sure how that really works. If the length is greater than 1, if body length is greater than 1, then you cannot do the opposite direction of where you're going because it just stops the game. We can add that really quickly. Okay, we'll add that really quickly just because that's kind of a fundamental thing. We'll put that in here. No, I guess we'll put it here. Okay. No, down by the event listener. Down here. So it cannot go up if body dot length is less than 2, then you don't need to worry about anything. No, I guess. If it's greater than 2, greater than 1, and direction is equal to 2, then it should not happen. So can we just put a exclamation? I guess we should probably do that and that. Oops, that. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble. Oh jeez. I'm having. Why is this spacing being stupid? Okay. I'm having trouble thinking of that in my head, but I think we're good. We can still switch directions there, but now we should not be able to switch up if we're going down. Yep. If we're going up, we can still go down, but we can't go. Okay, yep, that's good. Now we just need to copy paste that here, and this time we'll say if direction is equal to 3, it can't be 1. Paste it here. If direction is equal to 0, it cannot be 2. Oops. And we'll paste it here. If direction is equal to 1, it cannot be 3. So that should make sure that we can't turn onto ourselves. We can still do it now, but now we're unable to. Yep, we can't do it that way. I'm hitting left, we can't do it that way. Hitting up, we can't do it that way. And I'm hitting down. Perfect. Because it's kind of a bummer if you just hit the wrong button. The game shouldn't really end because of that. There we are. And now if we cross over ourselves, the game ends. Just like that. Okay. I think we finished this challenge. Let's just go back and check all of our parameters here. Make sure these are all good. I was planning on using this to like visualize more things, but for this game you really don't have to. I use MS Paint a lot for like collision checking because that's hard to visualize in your head. This game didn't really take too much of that. But start on load, it does that. Move the player with WASD or the arrow keys. Check. Eat food as the snake gets bigger. When you eat food, the snake gets bigger. Yes. If we cross the snake, the game ends. Yes. Loop stops on game end. Yes. Wrap the screen. Yes. Game canvas, board, and player and fruit. Okay. Well, I think that's going to be it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you want to see more of these or if you'd rather see more structure tutorials. This was definitely a little harder than I expected, but I don't think it was too bad. Maybe I'll link this on a website. I might link this on a website and put it in the description below, so maybe look for that. I'm not certain though. No, maybe I won't do that. That means I need a website. We'll see. Maybe in the near future I'll get one of those. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, drop a like and subscribe. Comment what you want to see in future videos. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.